Welcome to the world premiere of the new Porsche 911 GT3 RS. My name is Patrick Long. I've had the distinct honor of being part of the family for the last 2 decades, both on the racetrack and on the street. And every single time I've jumped into a 911 GT3 RS, I've left with a smile on my face and some pretty warm tires. I'm not going to introduce this car by myself. I have a great guest with me, Andy Preuninger,
Hi.
Father of the GT3. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, Pat.
So as soon as I walk in, there it is, the 996 GT3 RS.
Yes.
Car that we both started this company's tenure with. An amazing, amazing car. So close to the car that I drove on the racetrack. But then it got interesting.
Yeah, well, the first 996 RS was a homologation special to homologate parts that we needed in the race cars that you were driving back then. In this case, it was steering knuckles and some suspension parts, and we built a whole new model around it and continued that way with the 997 GT3 RS, which got the wide body of the turbo, which was very distinctively looking and even more aero, even more lightweight trickery. So it started the model range RS, if you put it like that. And on the next step was the second generation RS, which got a new engine, 3.8 liters of displacement instead of 3.6, more power, more aero, wider track front and back, and even more lightweight, like the carbon fiber stuff. So it was a pretty nice evolution.
When I first jumped into the 991 RS, I thought to myself, how do they do it? How do they give you a product that you can absolutely punish on the racetrack lap after lap after lap? I recognize so much aero advancement, so much powertrain advancement, and always the aesthetics. You guys always raise the game with the aesthetics, which is a huge part of the emotional connection of these cars.
An RS always has to be beautiful, absolutely. Next one was the current one, I would say, till today. The second gen featuring Weissach package, featuring even more lightweight stuff and an engine that was totally revised with 520 horsepower.
So it begs the question, which one of these is your favorite?
Well, they're all my favorites, but like in every family, the newest member always gets the most love. And my new love has a name. It's 992 GT3 RS, definitely. Doesn't this car look sharp? I think it's more radical, even more radical than a race car. Maybe more radical than a race car you've been driving.
It's insane. There's more aero detail here than I think I've ever seen in any street car.
That's right. I mean, all the exits, all the air vents, all the flaps are there for a reason. There's nothing fake, there's nothing exaggerated. I can't remember any project where we spent more days and nights, countless hours in the wind tunnel.
The new GT3 RS takes road car aerodynamics into a completely new sphere. We've never put so much effort in the development of a GT sports car. With over 1,500 simulations and more than 250 hours in the wind tunnel, we've been able to achieve a new level of performance. We doubled the downforce compared to its predecessor, and in comparison to the GT3, it has even been tripled. This radical change in downforce is due to a new packaging of the front of the car. The 3-radiator layout is now a mono-radiator concept like we use in our uncompromising race car like the GT3R. The first time in our road car history, we have a proper high-performance front wing that is also fully active and infinitely adjustable. We can rotate the front flap by over 80 degrees, and this in just 0.3 of a second. By rotating the flap in high downforce position, we achieve the maximum downforce configuration, and the load on the front is raised to maximum. We needed to increase the venting of the wheelhouse. The traditional outlet on top of the fender with the louvers was not enough anymore. A new passage for the air behind the front wheels was designed in order to increase the venting. Even the door design was affected by it. Not only does the new GT3 RS has turning vanes on the underfloor, they can also be found on the roof of the car. When the hot air exits the front radiator, it would just flow over the top of the roof and the engine air is affected by it. So we have a new hood outlet that pushes the air to the sides, and the roof fins continue this work and keep the hot air on the outward direction. The rear wing is of course huge. It is made of a fixed mainplane and the movable second element, the flap. Together with the active system in the front, we can reduce the drag by nearly 30%. When you press the DRS button, the DRS drag reduction system, the car turns the flaps into a low downforce position and you achieve the lowest drag of the car. The new GT3 RS is really a whole new milestone in road car aerodynamics. The combination of these two new aero systems, as front and rear, gives you the perfect aero balance and perfect aero setup for every condition on the racetrack.
Unbelievable. In many ways, it suggests this car would be on par with an FIA GT3 race car.
Yeah, I think from the downforce values it is. It produces 860 kilos at 285 kilometers per hour, which is a speed that you reach on a Döttinger Straight, for example, on Nürburgring. And just look at the father of all wings. It's towering so high above the car, it's even a little bit higher than the roofline of the car.
I'm convinced this has to be the most extreme street-legal GT car ever.
Absolutely. That was what we were aiming at when we began with the project. And the great thing about it is it offers such a great, rewarding driving experience on the track. It put a smile on my face every time I use it on the track, and all the development team as well. And that's a good sign that all the customers will love it too.
I can imagine. That brings me to my next curious question about lightweight materials.
Lots of those to be found on that car, even though we hide them away with paint. The ducktail is made of carbon fiber, as is the rear wing, as is the roof. We have very, very thin glass that is super lightweight all around the car. And for the first time, this car features carbon fiber doors, which shave off almost 5 kilos of the weight of the car. And they're integrated into the aerodynamical system of the car, having a different shape than the normal 911 door. And we have conventional door handles. Let's go to the front. Front fenders, carbon fiber, front lid, carbon fiber, and lots of bits on the suspension as well are carbon fiber or super lightweight materials. If you look at the interior, lightweight carpentry, extensive use of microfiber cloth. So we're looking at every component of the car, and there's lots of bits on the car. I mean, it's our passion to make these cars as lightweight as possible.
And the heart and soul of these cars. Let's talk a little bit about the engine.
It's a 4-liter flat six, 9,000 RPM. We upped the power by 15 horsepower over the GT3, so it has 525 horsepower by using hotter cams with longer duration, so the car makes more power at high RPM operation, has different cylinder heads for more lubrication in super high G situations, which that car really produces. We changed the cooling system a little bit.
I get excited when you talk about cam tweaking, more cooling. GT3 RS and PDK, they go together.
Absolutely. RS means range sport, means using the car on the track, trying to get the best performance out of the car on the clock as well. So you need a 7-speed PDK. It shifts faster, it is quicker, and it is easier to operate, to get the best lap times out of the car. And it's the perfect fit for that kind of car and for that engine.
I spent a lot of seasons racing with Jörg Bergmeister, and sharing a car with him, it was very apparent he's a bit of a suspension guru. I assume he's quite the same and pushes your team pretty hard.
He's a perfectionist, absolutely. He's never happy with the suspension, and he really drove our suspension engineers to their limit. But it was a good thing for the car.
We're sitting in the new GT3 RS. The current GT3 already set a really high bar in terms of balance with its double wishbone front axle, but the new GT3 RS is a whole nother level. The car with that much downforce usually is really sensitive to right height changes, especially under braking. The front usually gains a lot of downforce. But we made a change to the front geometry and put more anti-dive in it, and that gives us a more equal aero load under braking as well and keeps the balance consistent. So usually to change the damper settings you need a mechanic, but with our new steering wheel it's just a press of a button and you can adjust compression and rebound, front and rear axle while driving. And it's a really big tool for a driver. You can adjust the car perfectly to any racetrack or tire conditions. So for instance, on a really bumpy track, you can go a little softer on the overall damping, or if you're on a really smooth track or have plenty of grip from brand new tires, for instance, you can go a little stiffer overall. So basically it's a race car driver's dream come true. Also on the steering wheel, one of my favorite features is an adjustable differential. For instance, when you're struggling with a little nervous rear on corner entry, you can add some more differential on coast, or if you're struggling with oversteer on the corner exit, you just tighten the diff up on power a bit. So it's a really big tool. Also, when your tires degrade a bit, you can adjust the car really nicely with it. Yeah, so far you could either turn the traction control on or off, but now it's really cool. Just like in the race car, we have a fully adjustable traction control with 7 positions, and you can still switch it off, just to your likings. Yeah, all this makes it the best handling 911 road car ever on a racetrack. It's so much fun, especially in the high-speed corners. The performance of the car is just amazing, and I'm sure you're gonna have as much fun with it as I do.
Pretty incredible. I want some of these features in some of my race cars.
Yeah, it's a serious track tool. It's built for the track. No compromise. We don't even feature a trunk anymore under the front lid. Perfect drivability. Incredible. This car is really built for the track, and I hope that all the customers are really using it on the track. But they should train their neck muscles a little bit, because you have to tolerate the G-forces the car throws at you.
Well, you talk about the racetrack, and it makes me think about the Club Sport package. I assume that comes with this car.
As a matter of fact, the car comes standard with the Club Sport package, which consists of 6-point harness, fire extinguisher, and for most markets with a rear roll cage.
So if I select the Weissach option, what does that entail?
Yeah, the Weissach option has been very popular on the last RS model, so it will be an option here again. This is a non-Weissach package car, so if you would have opted for the Weissach package, the front lid would be visible carbon fiber, the roof would be visible carbon fiber, the lower section of the rear wing as well. And we have bits in the interior as well, like the door handles will be carbon fiber, and even the suspension, the stabilizer bars front and rear, the transversal strut. Alone on the suspension, we shave off 5 kilos with the Weissach package. And another innovation, the rear roll cage for most markets will be in carbon fiber as well.
Unreal. There is such a presence live with this car. I cannot wait to see the public's reaction.
Me too, me too. And it'll be on display on your home turf in California, on the Monterey Car Show. And my plane's leaving this afternoon, so why don't you come with me?
I'm heading that way. I'll catch a ride.
Let's go.